All right, welcome to another session of DGX Compare. It's been a while since we did two node, but after 17 hours of configuring, I finally got DeepSeek V4 working on two nodes. But a little caveat, it crashes a lot. But we're gonna walk everybody through it. So yeah, DeepSeek V4, it's 284 billion parameters, quantized down FP8 to I think 13 active parameters, mixture of experts. And it's installed on a cluster of two DGX devices. The primary is the left right there, which is the DGX Spark, and the worker node is the Acer GN100. They're both clustered using QSFP4 connective, I think C7, yeah, connected 7. And yeah, they're connected and running at 200 gigabytes per second. So it's not that much further off from the 273 megabits per second memory bandwidth for a single node, but it's still a little slower. But at least we can get the weights in, right? Again, this is a 284 billion parameter model clustered on two devices. Here we have the system memory for the Spark. It's running pretty much like 99%, 127 gigabytes allocated entirely to the weights and the model itself. And over here, this is, it's actually running off of a Mac, but then I'm doing activity monitor remotely for the GN100. And this GN100, it's around 95%, 120 out of 128 gigabytes total. I don't want to touch the Acer, because any kind of, let's see, even loading up a browser on the actual node itself, it takes up memory, so I'm trying not to. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the actual query that we usually have. Tell me all about Tyrannosaurus Rex, Tyrannosaurus misspelled on purpose, and let's see how it runs. Pay attention to the GPU utilization. Again, primary node, and this is the secondary node. This is the worker. This will be doing a lot of the work. All right. And we're off. So this is a mixture of experts model. You already saw both GPUs are highly active. One's at 95% down here at the worker, and it's 93%. Thinking's done, and it's actually throwing information out now. Let's see. Look at the activity there. I think the first pink one was the initial spike when we queried, and then look at all those cores running. I see at least 3 at 100%. It's crazy. But it's running, and the weights are actually throwing on the screen. Pretty solid data that's coming out. Solid information, I mean. Prefill was fast. I'll have to watch the video again to see how long it took, but it's no more than 5 seconds. And yeah, it's still going. I would say this is probably 15 tokens per second. So it's usable. Not ideal, but usable. I'd run this on the Mac Ultra, but we only have 96 on the Ultra, and this won't even fit. So to get this model running on a fast device, you'd really need to have at least 256 minimum. Okay, so it's gone ahead and completed. GPU utilization went down to around 0. So that's solid. It hasn't crashed yet. Let's do a follow-up. What did T-Rex eat, and was this a scavenger or a hunter? Again, watch the GPU usage. So boom, they both spiked. And yeah, pre-fills just a second or 2 seconds tops. And yeah, crazy on the cores. Triceratops. Wow, I didn't know the T-Rex ate Triceratops. And they ate other dinosaurs. Okay. Ooh. T-Rexes are cannibals. I never realized that. Okay. So we're still running stable. Hasn't crashed yet. But based on the forums and based on people who've actually gotten this up and running, the moment the context window gets a little bigger, it starts to get suspect and it starts to get problematic. And I get it, right? We're running two devices. This is two CPUs at 128 gigabytes each, and we are running at 99%, right, of system memory. So it's really using the entire 256, or let's say 250 or so, 248, because you have some space for the operating system and the Open Web UI. But you're very minimal on KV cache. In fact, let's talk a little bit about the setup here while that rests a little bit. These are all the parameters, and I'll share this on the description. But we're running Tensor Parallel size 2. We're using Ray as the coordinator. And again, here, FP8 for the KV cache type. We actually used 80% of memory utilization so that we have probably between 10 and 13% allocated to KV cache, which is not a lot. So the moment you get into a long conversation, that's where it gets tricky, right? But this is an optimized model for CUDA. And again, it took 17 hours to get this working properly because we had to reconfigure over and over and over again to get it ideal. We initially started with NVFP4 and then had it quantized down to, sorry, it was quantized down to NVFP4, but then that was just not running properly. Distributed kind of setups like this aren't ideal for even the playbooks provided by NVIDIA. So we had to do a lot of custom work, and what we found out was FP8 is actually the best to use. This is running. Again, see, it's actually running here, right? Another kind of note, we're actually only running, we've only tested this running single user. The moment we haven't tried double user yet or multi-user, but I would say that if we use multi-user, you would crash. But this is kind of just a proof of concept, or at least loading up the nodes, loading up the model into the nodes. Let me check the heat. Yeah, it's getting. Yeah, that's really hot. Temperature-wise, we're still good. We have 5 fans actively running, but we're only at 87%, 87 degrees. So not too bad, but it is getting warmer. So while it's still running, yeah, I'd say between 10 and 15 in terms of token speed. Now we installed tools, or tools is available for this model, so let's give it a try. I'm going to use a new chat, but I'll open up, I'll do this later where we actually try to piggyback off of an existing conversation. So let's use our typical file. I have a CSV file that's 17K, 17.3K, and it's got 298 rows and 209 rows and then 9 columns of car information, historical automobile information. And what I'm going to do is have DeepSeek analyze the file. So as you've seen, it's spiked up again. Let's take a look at the cores here. There we go. Spiked again. It's a thinking model, so it's actually doing a lot of work right now in terms of determining and assessing the content. It's probably using Python as an algo. Said, let me first look at the full contents of this file. And again, this is the worker node. It's doing a lot of the work. Okay, there we go. Wow, okay, cool. It's loaded up properly, and it properly identified 398 rows, as well as 9 columns, and it's providing us all the data there for statistics. Okay, those look accurate. I'm familiar with this data set, and it looks good so far. We're looking for displacement. Yep, there we go, 68. The reason why I track this is because sometimes I've noticed when models get busy, they start to spit out incorrect data. I have several other videos where, the data set that the model used was only a subset of the actual data set because it couldn't fit it into memory. And this time around, DeepSeek's actually able to fit everything into memory correctly and spitting out correct data. Oh wow, I've actually never seen this. Notable observations. Oh, cool. Look at that. So yeah, it's handling RAG pretty well, or at least tooling. There we go. It's shut down. I mean, not shut down, but it's gone ahead and reverted back to no CPU. Sorry, low GPU. Can you show me summary statistics? Like mean, median, and standard deviation. Okay, let's give it a look. See how like the worker node went first, and then the primary node for serving it. And that's because the system's already kind of allocated. The router is actually allocated most of the compute to the worker node. Okay, still okay. It is really hot where I'm at. I have fans running here, running under the table, and running on the side. It's just really hot out today. Less because of the system, but more towards it's just hot in LA today. All right, it's finally loaded up. Based on the context provided. See, there we go. I can only see 3 individual car records from Auto MPG, which is a very small sample. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, right? So there are 398 cars, but when it's doing the secondary search for mean, median, and standard deviation, it can't load, or it can't find the space and memory to be able to assess all that, because it's a lot, right? You're actually doing calculations for mean and median and standard deviation, which could be intensive. And so it's only using a sample of it. But at least it's telling me that it's only able to use 3. I was using a different model several days ago, and it didn't even spell that out. So we started giving statistics like this, but and you're assuming, if you don't know the data set, that you're working with the full set, but it's only a sample. So I'm really happy with what DeepSeek's done here, in that they haven't actually, they're being transparent about what they're showing. In a few days, we'll deploy this off to Nebius, where we have more, I guess, memory to work with and CPU to work with. But that's not DGX compare anymore. I guess that's DGX A300 or A100 compare. But either way, I'm pretty happy with DeepSeek. It's a lot more stable than Nemotron. Nemotron 120 was my favorite, but it hasn't provided this kind of accuracy. Now, again, I'm not happy with not showing us the correct information, but what I'm going to do is we're gonna copy this query or prompt. We're going to create a new chat, and then we are going to use the same file. Let's actually see what happens when we try to re-upload a file. It should just be working it off of cache because it's actually preloaded in, but let's see what it does. And this time around, I'm going to go straight to querying that same query that we had earlier that only used 3 cars. And then let's see what the results are going to be with a clean context window. All right. Okay, that's weird. I just said show me statistics, and it's telling me it's data provided for the Chevy Caprice across 3 model years. Again, it's hallucinating right now, or not hallucinating, but it's just not getting us the information that we need. It's getting us information that based on what it's capable of doing, but not what we're actually looking for. right? So this is going to be one of those problems with not enough KB cache or memory allocated. Because you guys know, right? Like when you're actually working with context or retrieval augmented generation or generated files to work with tooling, having a lot of memory available is key. And this is a 254 billion parameter model, and we have 256, right, of RAM. So it's going to be tough. What exactly is DeepSeek? Sorry, 284 compressed down. Is there anything here that talks about speculative decoding? We have that on. I need to do more research on what the preferred amount of KB cache is, but it's usually 40%, right? So to be comfortable, you should really have 40% allocated. So let's say you're running 256, you should at least have, I don't know, 96 available, which is not realistic. But again, we're using 13 parameters active, right? And it's fast, but again, you just got to have that kind of available memory in order to do any kind of history or context. Let's do another query. So look at more token speed. I want to go back to our initial chat for the T-Rex and say, how did T-Rex hunt for food? What I'm trying to do now is just generate a lot of context into a single conversation. And let's see if we can get the system to crash. So far, so good. Again, it's been a blue line here for utilization and system memory for the entirety. Well, not entirely, but for most of this this experiment, and it's been pretty stable. But look at that. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Oh, that one. Oh no, sorry, I thought it crashed. It didn't. It just went to screensaver. Phew. And by the way, if that crashed, this wouldn't be running anymore. Oh, so far so good. 10 to 15 tokens per second, pretty solid. Let's do a new chat. I wonder if this works. Dictate. Nope. Tell me about elephants. Same thing. Pretty fast prefill. That was under a few seconds. And it's straight to decode. One of the things that I read about in in the forums a lot is that a lot of people are comparing the Mac Ultra, and we have many tests on Mac Ultra as well, comparing the decode speed. Again, the DGXs are running at 273, and Mac Ultra, M3 Ultra is running at 819 or 827, something like that. So you're talking 3 or 4 times the speed, and that's exactly true. But the problem is when you're running large models like this, it's mostly compute, and the CUDA stack is what's helping these large models be able to do prefill much faster. So on the Ultra, you'll do a query like that or a prompt like that, and it'll take a couple seconds before any results are spit onto the screen, and they're fast. But if you take a look at time to first token or time to first token, it's much faster here. It's a second or two on the DGXs, and on the Macs it could be a while. And I've seen clients where they run an Ultra and they do a query and they're like, what's going on? They think it's crashed, right? And it's not. It's waiting. So I'd much rather have slow tokens come out, but you have something at least coming out compared to you're waiting and then something fast comes out, right? Because maybe at this point, it could take sometimes 60 seconds when you're doing crazy queries. And at that point, people have already decided, oh, it's crashed and they don't want to work with it anymore. They've actually gone and done another query. So, all right. Look at this, a lot of playing and nothing has crashed. And we've slowed down now, but so far so good. We'll end it at that. We'll run this model for a day, and then we'll give a further report tomorrow. So again, DeepSeek V4, 284, I think it's 284 gigabytes of, 284 billion parameters, quantized down to 13B, running FP8 on a clustered DGX Spark or DGX system with DGX Spark as the primary and the worker node is an Acer GN100. Thanks a lot.